so important that we make sure we have these conversations. You see what I'm saying? To get everybody to get an understanding of where we're coming from and what Black Lives Matter means. Because, you know, it's definitely misreferenced a lot of times. And they don't, a lot of people don't understand. And I feel that, you know, even when we met with him last week, you know, we had conversations with him about this. He said he wanted to apologize. Nobody talked him into apologizing. He said he wanted to do this. You know, my thing with him, my one fear was that this would throw him even deeper to the wolves, because I know that he doesn't understand. We've been trying to help him and others, not only him, even the people in Wahala and everywhere I travel to, Columbia, everywhere, get a better understanding of why we march, why we rally, why we protest, what Black Lives Matter means. But until we have these conversations, until we commit to it, as a community, we're going to be boycotting and rallying and protesting for the rest of our lives. I told him it's very important for the oppressor to speak out against oppression. That's very important. He understood that. But now we got to go to, okay, what does it mean? You know what I'm saying? What do we mean by does Black Lives Matter? I'm not standing here thinking he hates me because I'm black, but I don't think that he understands the true meaning in the definition of the movement. Because all they do is compare the movement to these people who come in and agitate and aggravate, not our people, Caucasian people, set stuff on fire, loot and all this, and then we get the backlash for it, and it makes Black Lives Matter look like an extremist group. And so, of course, when they say, you know, they don't want to misrepresent what they feel like they believe in. So I think that, you know, we need to definitely have a more defined conversation about that. I don't think that, you know, I don't understand the Blue Lives Matter movement. Don't care to be honest with you. But I have family law enforcement also. But at the end of the day, we marched for George Floyd and all those others that were killed, because you know why? Whoever killed those 3 officers in Dallas, they were charged with that. They probably got life in prison. They might have got the death penalty because it is Texas. But the people who killed George Floyd and many others, we had to protest to get them charged. And that's the difference. There's no consequence. There's no accountability. And we can't leave the room wide open for comments and conversation without complete understanding. That's why it's so important for us to have dialogue.
So to jump off that, what are you doing to make sure that you are inviting and seeking out that dialogue for yourself and to educate yourself?
Well, you know, I'm always learning. I've learned a great deal, and I'd be totally wrong if I told you that I understand the Black Lives Matter. I actually believe that I understand. You know, the black friends I've had, you know, associates all my life, you know, a little bit more than, well, I know I understand more than some of these people that have come in here, and you know, I'm trying to reach out to them too.
And to his defense, he has been very open to the conversation, to the criticism, to everything we brought to the table to him. It wasn't a pleasant meeting. No, I don't understand. I have my phone. We had a pleasant meeting. I mean, we did have a pleasant meeting. We went, you know what I'm saying, with full intent to let them know how we felt about this whole situation. We didn't go and have no kumbaya moments. That wasn't what that was all about. You know, disregard with the community. Some people in the community may think. We didn't have a sellout meeting. We went to him because we wanted to get a better understanding. He had been saying he wanted to meet with leaders. I consider myself a leader along with the others who met with him. And we said, you know what? We have to have a conversation with this man. That's it. And it's not even about me. You know, God makes me the person I am. I have to forgive. But before I forgive you, I want to know that the transgression you committed against me, you understand how it offended me. Once he understood the transgression against me was offensive, and he was willing to have that conversation with me, and the dialogue was given, and he took every word that he said, I wanted to meet with him, and I wanted to continue the conversation, and I will. We will continue the conversation with him. I'm not going to eat at Tammuz again. You know, not anytime soon. He knows that, because we still haven't came to any other conclusions. However, he's standing up here, and he was very afraid to even stand in front of you guys and do this. But he said he wanted to do it. Nobody forced him to do it. He was like, this is what I want to do. I want to first make a public apology, and then we need to go back to the table and meet with whoever wants to meet with him and have a conversation of how we move forward as a community.
This is really the start to conversations that you all hope to hold, continue to hold.
This is definitely the start. this is definitely stuff. You know, and my thing is, you know, being the person that I am, I believe in conflict resolution and conversation. I think that that's how all relationships are built. That's how they last, and that's how they dissolve. But we have to commit to talking. We have to commit to accepting each other and understanding each other, finding common ground. And if we can't, walk away from it. But at least we attempted. At least we tried. And, you know, at least we tried.
There's also a show of forgiveness in some ways that there is a conversation here today.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Is there also a sense of forgiveness too that we are having this conversation here today?
I forgave him last week. I forgave him when I had the conversation with him then. God didn't make my heart to hold grudges. I don't hold grudges against people. You know, that's not how I'm built. Now, will I forgive? No, I won't forgive. But am I willing to educate? Yes, I'm willing to educate. And he can educate me. I'm sure he can teach me some things as well. It's not all about me. You know, we got some people in this room that's very intelligent and willing to continue to have a conversation with them. And we also know that there's some who don't want to talk to them, but we get that too. But that's just not how I'm just not created like that. That's just not the type of person I am. You know, I don't like all this back and forth, bickering and arguing. I feel like I'm standing in the middle of a burning fire, and I don't know which direction to walk in. It took a lot for me to get the media, because I've been called a sellout on social media by people who don't understand the importance or condemn the importance of conversation. But you can ask Mrs. Zeller, there was never no money mentioned. We never mentioned money. We never mentioned anything. We don't have anything to gain from this. Not at all. If anything, we all had something to lose, right? We didn't have anything to gain.
Yeah, I've heard what she's talking about. Thank you, Tracy, for coming. I've had all kinds of people come and say, you know, this was a big shakedown, don't you? You know, they're going to ask you for money on it. Then there hadn't been any of that. I think they're genuinely as concerned as I am. I mean, you know, we're either going to have a reconciliation or we're going to be heading towards retribution, and that's nobody wins there. That's not where we want to go.
But this is like I said, you know, this is by no means over. It's no means by any means over. We're going to continue to speak with Mrs. Zeller, you know, and try to understand him and get him to understand us as well. We hope that people in the community, even if they don't never come back to Chambers, that they forgive him and move on, because that's just what it's all about, you know. And that's just it. But I think that we should end the press conference because, I mean, it's nothing else to be said, to be honest with you.
And what would you say to those people who are saying that they're choosing not to forgive Mr. Zeller?
They don't have to. You know what? I can't bear witness to anyone else's heart. That's not my job. My job is not to change anyone's heart or mind or anything. My job is to make sure that Tracy goes to bed every night feeling like I did what I was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, when God moves me to do something, I do it. And I rest well at night. I don't commit transgressions against anyone. And if I do, I apologize. I keep it moving. But I feel that everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves that. We all mess up. There ain't nobody over here problem-free, drama-free, accident-free, misspeaking-free. We all do that. We put stuff on social media. I did it last night. Put something on social media last night and had to delete it. You know, we all do it. I'm not going to hold a grudge against this man. I don't know his heart. The only way I can know his heart is to talk to him and have a conversation with him. And last week when he sat down with us, he showed us a part of his heart that he didn't even know existed. It opened something up that he didn't even know was there. And when I saw that, I knew that it was time for us to really commit to speaking with Mrs. Zeller and trying to build something else in this community. Besides a lot of back and forth, the backlash and slander. It's just time for that.
And Dr. Thompson, did you have something to share?
Let me say as well for the white community that
Yeah. What's come up here?
I ain't gonna go up there.
yeah,
But y'all heard me, right?
I got you.
Okay.
It is.
let me say for the white community who watch and provide some crystal clear clarity. When we say Black Lives Matter, I use the example, all whales matter. When you say all whales matter, you're not damning every other mammal or creature in the ocean. You're talking about the extinction reality that the whales face. When we say Black Lives Matter, we're speaking about the extinction reality that black and brown people face in America on a daily basis at the hand of racist cops, police brutality, trigger-sensitive cops, vigilante justice, and the gamut. Black and brown people have to contend with, consistently in America, institutional and systemic racism, injustice, oppression, and the like. Black people in America are 2 times likely to get more time for an equal or lesser crime as a white person. We have 40% of black males in prison, many of which are either on trumped-up charges or marijuana. Everybody there did not commit a violent crime. Many times the system and the judicial system was diametrically stacked against them. So when we say Black Lives Matter, it's not just the killing of black people and brown people on the streets of our cities, but it's also the mental, the economic, the emotional, and the physical death that we face on a daily basis. I've given the analogy, I'm a black man with 2 doctorate degrees, and I've been racially profiled. My wife is an educator. They pulled us over, pulled us out of the car, searched the car for drugs and guns and anything else illegal, then asked me how was I able to drive a Mercedes. A United States congressman walks up and asks them, do you know who you're doing, what you're doing? He did not recognize me nor the congressman and commits to continuing. That ended in a 21-day suspension for that officer, but had it not been me, my people face that every day on the streets of America, and they don't have the prestige or the power or the clout to get them fired or to get them suspended. And so that's enveloped in this Black Lives Matter movement. So we need a little understanding. We need tables of this nature so that we can understand each other and we can express ourselves with crystal clear clarity that say we're not damning all life, we're not damning blue life, we're not damning white life. We're talking about, we're 12.1% of the American population. We have 40% of our males in prison, 25% of our females in prison. We are dealing with some serious extinction realities in our communities. And so we want you, our white brothers and sisters, to be sympathetic to that. And that's what we brought to the table for John, and John listened, and we're not finished at the table. We're going to open dialogues like this all over this country, because simultaneously while this is happening, we're having similar dialogues in Charleston, similar dialogues in Minneapolis, similar dialogues in Washington, D.C.
And Walhalla
tonight. So these things has to occur, but we will never get our message out if we don't articulate it in a manner that everybody can understand.
And if we don't
That's what this is about.
and have these conversations, and it's necessary. It's hard. It's very difficult. You know, being an African American community leader, it's very difficult to say, okay, we saw the racist comment, we saw everything going on. 2 weeks ago in Walhalla, I walked in between some rebel flag carriers and spoke to them about unity. And when I approached them, I said, I come in peace. Shook their hands and everything. Well, they actually ended up marching with us. That was a very difficult thing. Not because of what white people feel about it, but because of what my own people feel about it. What my own people say about me when I do that. When I make a difference, when I step out and have conversations like this with Mrs. Zeller. When we step out and have conversations like this with Mrs. Zeller, our own community condemn us. They condemn us for trying to be on the right side of doing things. You banging on the door for so long, then once the door flies open, what's the conversation going to be like when you step inside? We have to understand that there's 2 parts of activism. The first part is the protests and the rallies and the marching. The second part is sitting at the table. If we don't have a seat at the table that we already built, then what is it all for? And that's what people need to realize. I'm not asking for a seat at the table. I'm taking my seat. I'm not asking for anything. I'm taking what I came for. Because I know what God put in my heart to do. God put in my heart to meet with Mrs. Zeller. God put in Dr. Thompson and Pastor Gaines and all of our hearts to meet with Mrs. Zeller. And I did that. And I feel good about it. Now, did I take some backlash from the community, from my people who I take care of, who I support, who I spent the whole weekend marching, rallying, protesting for? They tore me down. They literally tore me down, called me a sellout. Called me a sellout. Because I had a conversation with a man about racism. That's what this is all about, though, right? Aren't we supposed to have conversations about racism? Isn't that what everybody's saying? Let's talk, let's go to the table, and then we go to the table, we call sellouts. I'm confused. I'm just as confused about this as he is about what he did. I'm committed to it, though. We're going to Wahala tonight. We're going to meet the people with the Confederate flags and Black Lives Matter and everybody else. We're going to come to the table again. Call me a sellout for that. I'll take it. But if being a sellout means bringing this community together and building a stronger community, a stronger Greenville, I'll be that sellout. I will be that.
Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate your passion, and thank you, Dr. Thompson. You know, you can tell who's used to doing press conferences. You know, not my stumbling around up here. I think we spent a whole bunch of time. These are all very good things, and I'd like to thank y'all all for coming. And because this is the beginning of something. This will be continued.